Well, thank you very much, and thank you very much to give me this opportunity to address you in this particular moment, which I think is very important in the history, not only of the Middle East and North Africa. This is important also for the history and the future of Europe, because our destinies, as you all know, I guess, are intimately linked. Gadi has told me I have time to give 3 thoughts, but I will take the liberty to have also second thoughts within the thoughts, so that will leave me a bit more time. My first thought is about violence and dignity, and it's connected very much to the events of this weekend. I think as long as we do not have some solution inside, some perspective for a solution in the Israeli-Arab conflict, violence will be there. Terrorism or other sorts of violence are intimately linked to the feeling of dignity, or the lacking feeling of dignity, as we have seen in places like Egypt, or in other places in Tunisia and North Africa. And as long as you do not have the perspective that there will be light at the end of the tunnel, then the risk of violence will be present. My second point is related to the turmoil in the Arab world. What has happened in the Arab world, does it create a risk or does it create opportunities? Obviously it creates both. We are now in a more fluid situation. We may have more democratic, more representative, more responsible governments. Our strategy in this moment must be obviously to minimize the risks and to maximize the opportunities. And maximizing the opportunities should mean for all governments in the region to try to relaunch meaningful negotiations that can lead to precisely creating light at the end of the tunnel, because now most of us and many people in this region feel that the Israeli-Arab conflict is in the middle of a dark tunnel and there is no end in sight. What does that mean in practice? It means in practice that the international community, that the people in the region have to push for creating a fresh framework for meaningful negotiations, be it through the quartet, be it through an international conference, as had been proposed by various countries, including France. We know the basic parameters of a negotiated settlement. We know it well, thanks to Yossi, and also thanks to his Palestinian counterpart in the civil society. We know it thanks to the Geneva Initiative organizations in Ramallah and here in Tel Aviv, who have been pushing tirelessly for this to be known, for these parameters to be known. This is Geneva, these are the Clinton parameters. But a solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict is probably not enough. This has to be embedded in a regional approach to peace in the region, based on the Arab Peace Initiative. The key challenges that the region will face, and which concern us, even in Switzerland directly, will be regional and will need a regional management. I'm talking about water that will become very scarce throughout the region within a very few number of years. I'm talking about energy, I'm talking about security, not to speak about migrations. So the need to move ahead is recognized by all reasonable people. The question is it possible to move ahead? And there I believe there are 3 questions that need to be addressed. First one, is the new Palestinian government compatible with the basic parameters which have been drafted and agreed in Geneva and Clinton, which can be boiled down to is Hamas compatible with a Geneva type of solution? We know the opening position of Hamas. They speak about accepting the 67 borders. They speak about ending the violence with the end of occupation. They speak of a long-term hudna. They speak with accepting to work with Israeli officials at the working level, and they say they would accept the result of a referendum on a peace accord. Is that enough? This is a question for which I have no answer. The second question is Israel able and willing to articulate a position, an opening position or vision of peace that will not be immediately rejected by Palestinians. That is compatible also with Geneva and with the Clinton parameters. In other words, the first question, the first and the second question boil down to the issue, are the opening positions of the two parts so far away that it even doesn't make sense to sit and talk together, or can they be bridged? The third question, which is at the core of the settlement, the problems, is the settlement enterprise. And is the settlement enterprise, can it be coped with in a peace concept, in a peace solution? Can it be coped with through land swaps and withdrawals? I may remind here that to remove 8,000 settlers from Gaza, Israel needed 70,000 troops a few years ago. So I'm not sure how many settlers may have to be removed from the West Bank, if they have to be removed. If you draw a proportion between the number of settlers in Gaza, the number of settlers in the West Bank, and the number of troops, you may well come to the conclusion that this will hardly be manageable through security means. The final point I would like to make is, what if not? What if nothing happens? What if life goes on and that there is no discussions, there is no serious, meaningful, credible negotiations? Well, there will be more unilateral moves, there will be more direct and also indirect pressure on Israel. There may be more violence, there may be more calls for boycott or disinvestment to Israel, and there will be less and less understanding for occupation and settlement. There's something I would like to insist and to emphasize here. The point is not about delegitimizing Israel. I don't know of any serious person or politician which is questioning in Europe and in Switzerland Israel's right to exist in the 1967 borders. What is being questioned is the occupation and the violations of international law, like the settlement enterprise or the access restrictions to and from Gaza, among others. There is a genuine interest in Europe to see this conflict being solved and Israel living in peace with its neighbors. This is not only an Israeli interest, this is not only a Palestinian interest, this is also the national interest of each and every European state, and I believe each and every European state is committed to make that vision of an Israel living in peace with its neighbors, to make it come true. The Geneva initiative has proven to be not only a useful, a necessary compass in this undertaking, and I would like to congratulate Yossi Belin and all those who have been involved in pushing that vision and encourage them to continue to do so. They can count on our support. Thank you very much.